Call the meeting to order. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the folks on Zoom. November 17th, 1 o'clock, general session of the Board of Trustees. I'll ask the Secretary Treasurer call the roll.
Scott Horowitz here. Dave Warner, present. Chip Marin.
Here.
Joe McLaughlin.
Here.
Matt Parsons. Here.
All right, so
Here.
thank you. Okay, just so everybody's information, our next meeting will be December 1st, 2025, 10:30 a.m. will be our work session, followed by our general session at 1 p.m. We did get some communication. I'll dispense with that reading. You have them in your packets.
Second that.
Seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We do have some discussions that are on for today. I think we should jump right into that. I see Mary Ann Eddy is here. If you'd like to address the board. Sag Harbor Water Quality Initiative. You're up.
Okay, thank you. No waiting around.
Mr. Mack, you got to reclaim your,
Oh, today's mine.
you got to reclaim your beverage.
Thank you.
We don't want you parched during the meeting.
Not exactly.
Right? Got to stay hydrated.
Right, so I can use the facilities.
There you go. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you for your support all these years, since the very beginning of this initiative. I'm going to go through a little bit. Next slide.
Yeah, hang on 1 second, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk a little bit about, not a little bit, but mostly about what we found last year. But I'm going to do a little compare and contrast to some of the things that we found in previous years. And it's color-coded. You don't need to worry about it too much, except anything that you see. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Oh, and I get to go backwards, too? Lovely.
You'd like to.
Sometimes. Anything that's highlighted in green like this is from this sampling that we did in 2024 that was in the report in 2025. And this shows you the marine sites that we were looking at. So the ones that are on the, excuse me, on the far left there in Southampton, that's Redwood. The ones that are kind of, and also the coves where it's got Upper Sag Harbor Cove and John Street, Green Street, those are all on the coves there. Then straight at the top is Long Wharf and Windmill Beach. And then off to the right is Havens Beach, and there's an outfall pipe that comes from Cor Maria that goes down to the beach. So the first thing that happens, of course, in the spring, as you know, is the algae blooms. So having a little trouble here. The first thing is that we did see one sizable bloom in the middle of May, a little bit in the end of April. And we saw Dinophyces again. This is like more the middle of May and into June. Sag Harbor Cove was the site with in the end of May and June, and Cove Road. Cove Road had two sizable spikes. And there was no cochleodinium that was reported of any real significant amount. And total nitrogen, this is not a good story. You can see there's a very faint line there. And that faint line is the 0.4 milligrams per liter. And the arrows that go spiking down into the bars, that represents the higher and lower limits. But the blue bars themselves are the average that was found. And every site, at least, met that 0.4 milligrams where there's concern. Now, this is the thing that kind of came along as a surprise. I think you're all aware that Surfrider does some sampling. They do Enterococcus, and there's a couple of sites that they look at in Sag Harbor. They do Havens Beach. They do Windmill Beach, they also do Long Beach and Short Beach, but that's really outside the scope of this study. What they did, they do an annual report that comes out, I think, in May, and this was picked up by ABC News in the middle of the summer. And what they did is they tested 600 beaches from Washington State to Puerto Rico. They took 10,000 samples, and they identified the purest, the nicest, most beautiful, I don't know if most beautiful, but the cleanest beaches in all of those 600 beaches. And then they found the hot spots for bacterial pollution, and Windmill Beach was on that list. So this got people quite excited in Sag Harbor. This shows you where Windmill Beach is. I'm sure you're all aware of it, but it's right there on the west portion, right at the base of Long Wharf. Now, the oval that's hanging out there, that's where we've expanded transient docks over the last couple of years. I don't know the number of boats, but there's a lot more boats than there used to be. And the star on the left is Windmill Beach, and the bigger star on the right is a sewage treatment plant. That's just my sloppiness that one's bigger than the other, but you can see that the sewage treatment plant is almost outside the scope of any of the slips. It's right there between the Sag Harbor Yacht Club, the Breakwater Yacht Club, and right next to the Breakwater Yacht Club is the Sag Harbor Yacht Yard. So there's very dense boats in that whole area through the summer. So now we have yellow, which means it's not last year's sampling. This is from 2021. And if you look at Windmill Beach, because we really started to see, well, why would Windmill Beach show up as such a prime example of a bad beach in 600 beaches in the country? And when we looked at 2021, and we looked at the level, which is 104 CFUs per 100 mils, we found that there were 3 out of the 10 samples that pierced that limit, and that was in 2021. But when we looked at 2024, we found that 5 out of the 9 were. When we looked, and I don't have a slide for it, but as we were able to get the information for 2025, it looks like it has leveled off. Looking at this slide, this is, again, 2024. A small table here. This is tracing fecal bacteria. So you can see there's different bar graphs here. The green is dogs, small mammals, and as somebody pointed out, that would include seals, and we do have quite a few seals out there. The blue is birds, and of course we have a lot of birds. Deer, not so much. That would be orange. And the red is the human, that with the DNA tracking analysis from the microbial source tracking. And the reason there are arrows there, it's pointing out that on August 21st, which is the midpoint in each of those different samples, the first one on the left is Long Wharf North, the second one is Long Wharf Medium, the third is Long Wharf South, and then the second from last one is Windmill Beach. And all of those showed pretty significant amounts of human fecal bacteria in the middle of August. So we talked to the Village Board of Trustees there. This again, one of the things they said, well, one of the trustees thinks that it's coming from the sewage treatment plant. And it's possible. There's never usually one single answer to these complex questions, but it is a long way, and the sewage treatment plant is all the way at the other end of, like, I don't know how many boats, could be hundreds of boats, right? There's a lot of boats there.
It's 3/10 of a mile, is that what it says there?
Pardon me?
It's 3/10 of a mile away from Windmill Beach.
3/10 of a mile away, right. So, looking at 2021 sampling of this is from the effluent from the sewage treatment plant, we found that there was 4 samples that exceeded that 104 FCU per 100 milliliter threshold. And in 2023, which is the last time we sampled it, we found a very different story, that there were no examples that the sewage treatment plant was exceeding that guideline limit. Now, we saw this and we kind of like let it go. I mean, there's only so many places we can sample every year, but I'll come back to that in a moment. So what we were going to try to do to try to narrow this down. Now, 2 years ago when we started to see that this was a problem, we sampled the storm drain that comes from the library, comes all the way from the library, all the way down through the center of Main Street with all the storm drains, and it empties at Windmill Beach. So we analyzed that, and we found that there's a lot of enterococcus, but if you're looking at a bar graph, it's a very tiny little thread across the top that's human. So it's not coming from the storm drains. And when we talked to a village, what we decided we're going to do is we're going to wait until every last boat is out of the harbor, and we're going to go back to Long Wharf. We're going to sample Long Wharf again. We're going to sample Windmill Beach, and we're going to go back and we're going to sample the sewage treatment plant again. But I think that, I think the harbor master is making good efforts to go and insist that boats have their Y valves tied off. But I don't think that's a one and done. I think you have to tell people. You have to tell them again. You have to tell them a third and fourth and fifth time.
Because they undo them pretty easily.
Say what?
They can undo them pretty easily, right?
I don't know. I'm a boater, but I don't own a boat, so I don't know the logistics of that. But I did talk just casually to people that I know because I am a sailor, and I had people say that they never heard from him. So maybe they heard from him the next day after I talked to him. But my point is, I think you have to tell people in many different ways. And one of the things I'd like to do, and I proposed this to the village trustees last week, is, everybody makes a reservation through DACWA. Are you familiar with
Yeah.
DACWA?
Yep.
Right? And when you get a confirmation, it's got your name, the name of your boat, how much you're paying, and that takes like the top quarter of a page, and then the rest of that page is blank. And then it goes on for 5-6 pages of all the things that are part of the contract. And number 34 on page 5 says that it's a no discharge zone. So I suggested that, one in many different ways that we can talk to boat owners is use that blank page on the first page of their DACWA confirmation to just tell them that we treasure our clean water and that we enforce a no, discharge zone in Sag Harbor. Some verbiage to that point. And it's like, interesting, let's see about it. But again, I think it's a matter of me and other people saying, this is something we should do. We need to tackle this problem in a multiplicity of ways.
You should probably have a contact number and a VHF number for the pump out boat program on it too.
I don't think there's a phone number. There is the channel number, 63 or whatever it is.
73.
Right. And that is down there on page 5 in item 34.
Why not on page 1?
Huh?
Why not on page 1?
Exactly, that's my point. Why not on page 1? This is
Critical
probably
information.
more important than
Yeah.
some of the other things. I mean, I think the language about how you have to secure your boat, very important, right? Especially with the winds and the storms we're getting. But I
Yeah.
think that the no discharge is very important. Moving on. So the other thing that we did, this was back when we didn't realize that we had this somewhat more serious problem with Windmill Beach. I mean, we've been testing it every year. We've never gotten like a national spotlight put on us quite the way we have this year. But we really wanted to start looking at the storm drains that go into the coves where we might start thinking about innovative alternative septic system outreach. So we started looking at these storm drains, and there's Amherst Road, Princeton, I'm sorry, all of those. We went and we sampled those, and you can see, because if the threshold is 104, that barely makes the y-axis over here. So pretty much every one of those storm drains exceeded the swim limit. So I think that that's going to be helpful in terms of where we focus our attention in terms of outreach, hoping that people will convert to the innovative alternative systems. This is total nitrogen. Again, it's kind of the same story. There's a faint line there that shows the threshold of when you're starting to get into the danger zone. And then there's,
Is that scientific error on the lines, the vertical black lines?
That's the range.
the vertical back, what that is that shows you the high and low sample results, and the blue bar graph is the average.
If I could ask a question, I can't help but notice that the majority of the Enterococcus is mammal. It's like dog. Is there a way that that can be mitigated? Is there some sort of like a, doggy bag program in Sag Harbor?
Well, there's some effort at Havens Beach. And I have a pup, and I go over there now and again. He's a Chihuahua, so he's not a big danger. But sometimes there's bags in the containers, sometimes there's not. But one of the things that I've learned from listening to Chris Gobler talk is that Enterococcus moves like 50 or 100 feet, and even the Suffolk Department of Health will let you put like a well within 100 feet from your septic system. So it's not really, at Havens Beach, I don't think it's really the dog park. But you're talking about a broader effort to reach out and ask people to pick up, and I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But you said seal was included in that too, right?
Well, somebody suggested that to me, the owner of the yacht yard, because I was talking to him about this, and I was talking about dogs and small mammals. He said, we have a lot of seals out there. And I'm like, I never thought about that.
That's only season.
But the majority of is stormwater runoff. Like, let's be real. Like, the majority of the Enterococcus bacteria blooms that we're having, not a bloom, but the Enterococcus bacteria readings is from stormwater runoff. Probably 80%, which is very similar to the readings that we had in Mecox. So the large majority of the problem, though, I do agree that human waste is not really nice to have going into your water body. The majority of it is a million, that could be rodents, that could be raccoons, that could be all kind, not just dogs.
Right.
But that is all stormwater runoff, and I've always said that anything over 1 inch of rain of stormwater runoff mitigates all these efforts that we're putting in for these septic systems. So the drainage of the plumbing of the town of Southampton has got to be rectified in order to stop stormwater from going into the bays.
Right, by plumbing, it means the road runoff. We got big road runoff problem.
Right, and I think that problem goes beyond Enterococcus. I think that's really the nitrogen. And that, of course, is dogs and otters and seals and everything. It all contributes to the amount of nitrogen that's.
These are all things that are up out of our jurisdiction, right?
Say what?
It's all up out of our jurisdiction, the trustees. We don't regulate
No.
that stuff, right?
No.
We work with the highway department and people to
Right.
help mitigate these things, and, So, all right, go ahead and continue
So,
on with your presentation.
I'm pretty much done here. So one of the things about Havens Beach, and I know that's out of your jurisdiction, but it's kind of interesting too, is the blue arrow, and it's kind of hard to see, but that's the outfall pipe. So if Havens Beach is directly north of Route 114, which comes from East Hampton going into Sag Harbor, and it's pretty much uphill, downhill to Havens Beach. So all those storm drains all the runoff from the roads accumulates in one pipe that's about this big, that spews into that ditch that goes out onto the beach. And that, if you look at graphically, you can just see, that's the worst. That's where the enterococcus is coming from, and I'm sure that that's exactly where the nitrogen is coming from too. And when you take a look at the next slide, again, the blue arrow, it shows you the composition of the enterococcus, and it's mostly dogs and small mammals. So you're exactly right. Doing a dog pickup campaign would be helpful. I think, again, it's like there's not one silver bullet. I don't believe in silver bullets. I think there's IA systems. I think there's dog, containment. I don't know what the right word is there, but reaching out in the same way. So what are we doing? So nitrogen was the main source of nutrients promoting algal growth and algae blooms, low water clarity, and low oxygen. These are all from Gobler's report. And we are going to start an IA outreach program, and next slide I'll show you where that is. And then the rest of these all kind of go together. On-site septic systems, upgrading the septic systems, and the feasibility to identify regions for sewering. 2 weeks ago, we broke ground on expanding the sewer service area in Sag Harbor, which Aidan Cora, she was assigned this, when he became a trustee, he became responsible for the sewage treatment plant. He knew nothing about it, but he really got into it and wrestled with this, and we've gotten something like $17 million worth of grants. And we are going to sewer about 40 residences in Southampton and another 20 in East Hampton. It doesn't solve the problem, but as Aidan likes to say, how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So this is our first effort. And those houses, especially the ones in Southampton, there are people there, friends of mine, you can't do your laundry during a full moon. You probably can't flush your toilet when it's a high tide. They're really sitting in groundwater. So we are going to get those houses on the sewer system. And we have a lot of capacity. The sewage treatment plant is about 60% capacity right now. And this is something the Lake Agawam Conservancy, in conjunction with the Center for Clean Water Technology, on Saturday they're doing this outreach program. It's at the Southampton Cultural Center. These are two different flyers for the same event, but I'm certainly going to go. I'd like to see how it's received, see how we can modify it. Do we tape it? How do we do it? How do we reach out to people in Sag Harbor? Because you're right. I mean, it's not, the only source. It doesn't help with the dog pollution. But again, I think there's numerous different ways that we have to deal with the problem. And the next one is just like the Havens Beach watershed study I told you about. We've got money from New York State. We're really trying to look at that whole watershed that comes from Route 114 and drains into Havens Beach, and how can we stop the pollution before it gets to the beach. Some people want to just do something there at the beach level, which is fine, but I think that there's also things that we can do with the gray infrastructure before the pollution ever gets down to the beach.
I just want to clarify on this. In 2002 and 2003, there was an extensive watershed study that was done for all of East Hampton Town and all of Southampton Town that has already established all these hot spots for a watershed. Nothing was done with it, but it's an extensive study that gives you every outflow pipe of the plumbing of Southampton and all the watershed districts that have the highest impact on all the water bodies. So you might want to look at that as to see what work has already been done before you do a whole study.
Definitely.
I could forward you the link to that.
Yeah,
but
please.
There's a 163-page study that shows you absolutely every outflow in the town of Southampton and in the town of East Hampton.
Send that to me. I was unaware that they had done that in that detail in Sag Harbor. So, but it's the outfall pipes, but it's also Not just the,
Also, yes, also the topography and where the most flow is, and, I mean, it was an extensive study that was done.
okay, great. And then why valve outreach? I think that's something we need to do, tell people, tell them the same story, tell it again, tell them in different ways. But I don't think that one conversation actually solves the whole problem. And that's my report. You all have been consistent supporters to date since the beginning of this project. You have contributed.
Yeah, the East Hampton trustees as well, correct?
Pardon me?
East Hampton Town trustees as well?
Yeah, you want to know how much they've contributed? Twice as much as you guys
Okay.
have. But I'm grateful for what you can come up with.
We're working to the
We're
best of
working
our
our way
ability
up.
within our
Look at that.
budget.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. You've contributed over, I think it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 7,000.
Right.
I don't think that's right.
It is what
1,
it
2,
is.
3, 4, 5. It would be more than that, but
Definitely more than that. Yeah, I know the trustees of East Hampton and ourselves are pitching in to do what it is that we can. I mean, we're pressed and stressed in every direction here.
right.
But, we're trying to do what we can. And I appreciate your efforts. I know you've been working on this for many years, that you've
I
been
have.
listening.
So getting a couple $1,000s from you all, it's like putting this together is like a jigsaw puzzle.
Sure.
Getting like from a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'd appreciate it if you would re-ump your support. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. You've given an extensive report. This one.
No, for this.
Yeah, we do have a resolution on. Yeah, we're, yeah.
You have a resolution? Great.
I have one quick question for you. The $17 million worth of grants that you got to do, upgrade the septics, is that the first pool of money that you're starting to work with, or have they
No,
been?
it came in various different levels.
Okay,
Different times, over like the last probably 5 years.
so you accumulated it over time, so this
Yeah,
is the
that's
first project?
total.
Okay.
And one of the things that it did is it also funded the sewer master study that has got it all outlined, where we go, where's the most bang for the buck, et cetera, et cetera. And it's kind of a departure because the CPFs, which are the major source of this funding, along with New York State, don't usually fund studies, but they did fund that.
So you're on the way.
We do have a resolution on for a couple $1,000s to come.
Okay.
Thank you, Marion.
All right.
And please, send me
Will
the,
do. It's on the way.
Okay, so let's keep going with discussions. We have the 2026 draft trustee work session and meeting dates scheduled. Everybody was good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we discussed that. And then you also have in your packets the fee schedule as well that we prior discussed. Everybody still good with that?
Yep, all good.
So let's go to the public hearings then. We have a notice of public hearing, amendment of Blue Book Rules and Regulations, Management and Proxy Waters, Article 5, Section 36, moorings. So I would like to open up that public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Folks on Zoom, Joseph, are you, Lombardo, are you going to present? Or
Basically, the board wished to increase the maximum size of vessels that could be on moorings in certain water bodies. 26 feet shall remain with Fish Cove, Hubbard Creek, Mill Creek in Flanders, Goose Creek, Little Sabana Creek in North Sea, Ligony Creek, Squires Pond, and Davis Creek, but increasing to 30 feet in Birch Creek, Bullhead Bay, Cold Spring Pond, Fish Cove, Fresh Pond in North Sea, Gannett's Creek, Goose Creek, Mill Creek in Noyak, Morris Cove, North Sea Harbor, Noyak Creek, Red Creek Pond, Reeves Bay, Sag Harbor Cove in its entirety, Scallop Pond, Seatuck Cove, Staff Paynes Creek, Westneck Creek, and Woolly Pond. The reason the 26-foot maximum was kept in the other water bodies was for safety and navigation purposes.
and we did consult with our Marine Patrol relative to this as well.
Yes, they chimed in, and thanks to trustee Warner for quarterbacking this.
Yes, I think it's something that's needed, being that the lack of berths for the boats to be tied up. There's very few marinas left that have any vacancies. Unfortunately, they're all filled up, so I guess it's good for business, but it's not good for boaters. And, you know, a boat up to, 26, 28 feet is not something that's easy to trailer around, so having it on a mooring gives them the ability to utilize the resource much more. There have been a couple letters contacting our office, asking us to do this, and I know over the years, we've had discussions with the commercial aquaculture, allowing them to go to 40 feet because of safety and utilization of their gear. I think it's something that would be good for the areas that we've chosen and would be okay to move forward on.
What I would like to do is open it up for public comment. So is there anybody here that would like to speak on this topic? Raise your hand and you'll be addressed. If anybody is on Zoom, put your hand up, come on up and come to the podium. I think there's a sign-in sheet, if you could state your name for the record and take a few minutes. And if anyone is on Zoom that wants to speak, if you could raise your hand so we can get you in as well. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Quatella. I married into a family who is lifelong residents of Sag Harbor, so I've been coming out here with them for 30 years. And we are just, local family, middle class, and like you said, it is near impossible to get a slip at any of the marinas. We've even gone further out, which is obviously not, ideal. So it's just harder and harder for local middle-income families to afford marina fees. There's, again, like the lack of slips, little bit of a bigger boat and in these bodies of water will, obviously be more fuel consumption, and will bring more money to local businesses. And then even, of course, to the woman that spoke before me, responsible boating is obviously of the utmost importance, so ensuring that everyone is keeping with following all the rules. We just would love to be able to have just a little bit of a little bigger boat and keep the mooring where we have it now and allow other families to do the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else that would like to address the board that's located in the building here today on this public hearing? Is there anybody that has their hand up on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Perfect.
I'll just also say that when these original laws were drafted, the registration of the vessels was based on the keel, not on the overall size of the boat. So we've decided as a board to go on the registered length of the vessel, not the assessed length of the vessel. So when somebody is determining whether they want to put their boat on the mooring, it's going to be determined on the New York State register or federally registered length of the vessel.
Okay. I think there's been consideration here for this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for moorings.
Yeah, okay, so then I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that public hearing is closed. Next, we have a public hearing on amendment rules and regulations, considering amending the management products of the waters for the town of Southampton. Article 2, shellfish permits.
Okay, that one,
I'd like to open that.
open it.
Look for a second. Seconded, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Okay, this amendment to the Blue Book has been in the works over a year in terms of discussion, and certainly since the first of the year, as it was hashed around by trustees Warner and Marin. And what this will do is establish an endorsement to allow baymen to commercially harvest in Shinnecock Bay. I would ask either trustee Marin or Warner to speak to its particulars a little better, since they're baymen and I'm not.
Bayman.
Want to go first? Or?
Go ahead, Ed.
I've been reached out to by several of the lifelong fishermen, baymen, watermen in town, asking that we put some kind of restrictions on the permitting or the ability for people to get a permit within Shinnecock Bay, because we've basically took it upon ourselves and the Baymen and the trustees and the local people that use the water to work with the college and Cornell in establishing the Shinnecock Bay Restoration Program, shellfish restoration, which has been extremely successful in Shinnecock Bay. And they have asked us to put this restriction on basically having an endorsement on a permit to work the area. After talking it over with Trustee Marin and some of the other board members and some of the Baymen, we've come up with this proposal. I think it's a good idea that basically covers what the Baymen are looking for, and hopefully, moving forward, we can adopt this.
This is also not an exclusionary process for new Baymen into the system. You're still going to be able to procure a commercial permit if you're new to the fishery, and you'll be able to work on an endorsed vessel and in Shinnecock, as long as you're working with somebody with the endorsement. And you will have to work as a working Bayman and show proof of actually a shellfish log within the town waters to prove that you've worked in other parts of the bay for 2 years, and then you would qualify for an endorsement. So it's not an exclusion of future generations of Baymen.
So we'd be able to stop the moratorium and issue new folks coming in for other areas of the system of our waterways.
For the record, the moratorium will expire on 12/31, so.
And this idea was not something that we came up with specifically in the town. It's something that we've kind of copied or mimicked from the Brookhaven town, which they've already initiated and has been working for a few years. So it's something that we just added a little bit to and made it something hopefully unique to the Shinnecock Bay area.
And there are other townships in Suffolk County which also have restrictions, endorsements, if you will, for seasoned baymen. So we tried to model it after that.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is there anybody on Zoom?
Anybody on Zoom that wants to speak on this?
No one on Zoom.
No one's.
Move to close. Somebody?
Like to close the hearing then?
Does it have to be 2 consecutive years, or is it 2 years combined?
2 consecutive years. That was what we had come up with. That's easiest to monitor too.
Sure.
Okay, do you have a motion?
Motion to close?
Second.
Seconded, Trustee Marin, all in favor?
Aye.
Right, public hearing is closed. Switch gears over to public portion. Is anybody here, this is your time to address the board or other topics outside of those public hearings. And then same thing on the Zoom. If someone wants to put their hand up that they want to address this board, this is the time, right now.
You can come up to the podium and
It's on a different topic than the public hearing?
Parking at the,
That's different.
hi, Michelle Quatella again. At the, where we have the boat now at the mooring at the Mill Creek, Noyak, you're not able to park. You used to be able to park along the side of the road where the Southampton town ramp is. A few years ago, it was changed, and you can only park with a trailer. Are there any plans to change that?
I don't believe we have any statement saying that you can't park on that Trustee Road. I mean, we recommend that you have a launching permit on your car, but if you have a launching permit, you're definitely clear to go, whether you have a trailer on the back or not.
We've gotten ticket. We've got, the first year it happened, we didn't, it was probably, how many years ago? 4 or 5? 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Do you have a ramp permit?
We have a ramp permit, but we did not have a trailer attached, because
technically, you wouldn't need a trailer attached.
there's a sign now, it's a couple years, that it says, correct me if I'm wrong.
I haven't been down there in a couple of years. We're gonna have to look at
Yeah,
that permit.
that's definitely something that we can have a marine maintenance look at And we will address that issue because it's open to anybody in the freeholder, it's a freeholder of the town of Southampton to utilize these
The
trusted
trailer
roads.
doesn't have a permit attached to it, it's the truck that's towing it that has the
And
permit.
if you have a mooring in there and you have a dinghy, you'd need.
That's
No, we
exactly,
understand. Yeah, and that's-
yeah.
At Baycrest, where I park and have my mooring there, it says parking with a trailer requires a permit, but you do not need any permit otherwise to park a car.
Yeah, right, yeah, that's what that's
That
my
seems like the
understanding.
standard.
We're gonna
So-
have to look at the signage down there and maybe it needs to be changed.
Okay, because I know that we personally got a ticket, and then friends also got a ticket.
Yeah, well, Baycrest is it's town road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
is,
this is a
you're
trustee.
actually a trustee.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I think maybe there's some confusion in the
Yeah,
system here,
yeah.
is what it sounds like, and we're gonna have to address that.
Okay,
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
of course, and
Take a
then,
picture and just email it over to our
yeah,
office.
of course, no problem. And then what we do is we park on the street, but people don't like when you park in front of
Yeah, but
their,
it's a public thoroughfare, so,
yeah, we do, we have no choice, because there's
Yeah.
nowhere else to
Nor
park.
do they.
but-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a very tight community
Thank
down
you.
there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Zoom?
No one
All right.
on Zoom.
I'm gonna make a motion to close public portion then.
I'll second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right,
All right, let's move on to the resolutions. Got 2025-318, application for Mark Roeder, 4 Stone Lane, tax map 902-5-1-34, recommended approval.
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
all right.
Trustee Resolution 2025-319, Julie McKay, 21 Old Main Road, Village of Quogue, tax map 9023-1-8, Quantuck Creek, worked on extensively in work session. At this point, I recommend its approval.
Second?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right. This is trustee resolution 320. This is the first renewal application for 390 Fowler Lane LLC, tax map number 900-115-1-8, and it's the body of order of Jewel Pond. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second?
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right.
Resolution 321 of 25, this is application of 175 Tower Point Road, North New York. The fantastic 900-59-1-7, body of water, Davis Creek on the second.
Second on that?
All in favor?
All right.
I have trustee resolution 2025-322, first renewal application of Jason and Nancy Gosselin at 49 Old West Hampton Road in Northampton, New York, tax map number 900-164-4-11 on Wildwood Lake. Can I get a second on this, please?
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right.
Trustee Resolution 323, authorized contribution to Sag Harbor Water Quality Initiative for 2025. This is backing up what Marianne Eddy had asked for in her presentation. We historically have donated to this, to the East Hampton trustees, which is the primary oversight of the program, so I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor? Aye. So this is the resolution to set the meeting schedule. It's resolution 2025-324 for the 2026 season.
I'll second it.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
All right.
When we read every date into the record?
No. Trustee Resolution 325, resolution to amend the Board of Trustees fee schedule for 2026. We had discussed this at previous meetings. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Second, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
All right.
Trustee Resolution 326, adopt the records retention and deposition schedule for New York local government records, LGS1, pursuant to Article 57A of the New York State Arts and Cultural Affairs Law. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right, trustee resolution 2025-327, authorized purchase for gals for trustee barges.
Badges?
Badges.
Second.
Badges.
All in favor?
Aye.
Got trustee resolution 2025-328, recall and amend 2025 trustee 21 to authorize continuation of retaining the professional services of Joseph Lombardo for legal consultation.
Second.
Second that.
Seconded by Maren, McLaughlin, Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need you.
Got trustee resolution 2025-329. Yeah, Joe, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Been a pleasure working with you.
Been a labor of love.
Yes, I see that. Trustee resolution 2025-329, waterfowl hunting location applications for transfers, additions, removal of co-permittees. We have permit number 180, J. L. to Donald Murphy, and permit 151, Dave Krakel, addition of a co-permittee, Alexander Krakel.
Second on that?
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We also have trustee resolution 2025-330, waterfowl hunting location application for approved individuals from the wait list. We have permit number 70, James Fry, permit number 182, Luke Babcock, and permit number 246, Brian Fischett.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2025-331, notice of adoption of amendment of Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article 2, Shellfish, Section 6, permits. I recommend its approval. I need a second on that.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Marin, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 332, notice of adoption, amendment of Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of waters of the town of Southampton, Article 5, Section 36, moorings. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second that.
Seconded, trustee.
May I just say something?
Sure.
Ed, it's been a pleasure working with you all these years, and this is the last Blue Book amendment that you and I have worked on together, and I
Well, thank you.
want to thank you for all the guidance and education you gave me over the years.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right, so we,
Recommend its approval?
you seconded?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2025-333, warrant 19 of 2025, for the sum of $13,099.13. Let me see, the first one is, the register says $187.10 for auto rent, coastal property, $4,720. Comstructs LLC, $451. Sag Harbor Publications, $150. W.W. Granger, Inc., $1,459.17. James E. Olivo, $2,500. RBS Corp., $228.42. Surpass Contemporary LLC, $1,200. Town of Southampton, $1,642.62. And W.B. Mason Company, Incorporated, for $560.82, for a sum of $13,099.13. I recommend its approval. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, does there anybody have anything they need to discuss
It's
here?
the walk-on.
Walk
Oh, we got one more walk-on. That's right, we do, thank
I'll
you.
make a motion to take the walk-on.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have a request here, authorize opening of Mecox and Sagaponic Pond, whereas the Board of Trustees are owners of the land commonly known as Mecox Bay and Sagaponic Pond. The water levels of Mecox and Sagaponic are at flood stage and are in danger of flooding neighboring homes and land. In order to avoid such flooding, the trustees desire to open the Mecox Bay and Sagaponic Pond so that water will flow freely into the ocean.
Any comment, Chip? Any comment?
It's pretty important resolution to pass, I'd say.
All right, well, I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded, trustee Marin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion,
Aye.
resolution is carried. There's no more walk-ons for here, right? Is there any other discussion that's important for today, or
Not this time.
good? Everybody's good? Okay. Do we need more executive session? Are we done with that? All right,
good.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have a great afternoon, everybody.